Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, the few that are here. Buds, Robert, Federiconi, how are you? And the wagon. How you doing, Blackbird? It's 6 o'clock on, fogged up. It's 6 o'clock on October 1st. We're in October already. Whew. September, what a month, I'll tell you what. What a month and an old man it was. Fruit and gas. I don't know if I've seen fruit and gas before, but I imagine that's tasty. I like a little fruit, and I like the old gas. That's for sure. So those are two words that go together nicely. Let's see. I don't really. I'm kind of hoping. I don't know. Unless we get some good content this evening, I'm exhausted. I am exhausted, and my day is not done. Wah wah wah. I cry a lot lately, but I am tired. Tired AF. Let's just say that. I'm getting used. Hey, good to see you. Where are you coming from? Fruit and gas? What part of the country are you from? Kind of curious. Or how'd you find out about the show? Because I'm thinking with the name Fruit and Gas, you got, I think it's something to do with cannabis, I'm guessing. Well, welcome. I'm not sure. Oh, Florida. Oh, how's the old hurricane there? Hurricane Ian, I guess, it's been the big news in your state. I wonder if you have any updates. Anyways, I hope it's not too disappointing. We get a lot of good guests on here. Typically, we'll have a few really good indoor growers. It seems we have a plethora of LED growers and tents that absolutely astound me on what they can do in their gardens, in their rooms. And maybe we'll get to see a little of that tonight. I know Buds is up here. He has a good setup. And there's a numbers. Maybe you'll be treated to one of those and see what actually you can do with a 3x3 tent or 4x4 tent and some LEDs. No, sir. No, sir, Ray Ray. I hope not. I hope not. We don't want to do that here. But it happens. What can I say? Hey, Ron. Good to see you. Good to see you, Ron. We're going to try to stay on cannabis tonight. I took your suggestion to heart. It's easy to stray though. It's easy to stray after these years, literally, of doing this, and I don't have that much information to share. I don't have that much information. I'm going to drop the link down there. But if I haven't been up on the show before, since the last time I got porn bomb, good to see you. Pucker up. Genetics. Let's see what kind of show we can do tonight. Got a few people showed up. I got my little kitties. These are little lovers. Look at these. How can you say these? These are. Oh, they're not keen on being held, but you got to say they are cuties. This is a black boy. This is nope. This is Gracie, and this is Haas. Anyways, that's my entertainment last month. What that was a picture of tissue culture. So that was basically an agar with some salts in it and some hormones. So that was basically growing it in jello or seaweed jello. I think the agar is made from seaweed. But yes, that's what that was. We got the content is rolling in. Thank you. Look at this. We got from back in Illinois, Buds, and from New Mexico, Arizona. Yeah, Brandon. Good to see you back, Brandon. Look at that big old fat bud.
I had to drop another scrog net on here because he got too tall.
Looking good. Look at that one plant in there, ladies and gentlemen. Buds does things his way, but he does use green bicycles.
I got 3.
There's 3 plants in there.
1.
Actually, I'm going to address a couple of questions that I got on here really quick. Ray, those red pins are places that I sell green bicycles. Kind of cool. I've never taken an ad out. I don't know if you can't really see the high resolution, but we got some pyramids in there in some of the bigger cities. But those are where I sell stuff. You need, and actually, that's a great question, Bible Nerd. How do you induce rooting? That's something I've tried it 3 or 4 times now, and I can go through the splitting, the branching stage, and get them to grow very successful. But I haven't been able to root them in the agar. It's finding the correct hormone or the ratio of hormones to use, and that's kind of like an industry secret. People don't want to tell you that exact information. So, actually, a number of people that I've talked with, the rooting in the agar is the tricky part, but you just need the right rooting hormone in there. Anyway, the branching hormones seem to make it branch just fine. The rooting hormones are a little trickier on my end. It's a great question. Thank you. Sorry, guys. Look at those LEDs. We're getting a nice slideshow of Bud's room and Brandon's room.
Purple punch, 3x3. Green bicycles.
Green Bicycles is in the house. Hello, Vester. Yes, sir. Rip sub cool.
Out the babies. Next round.
Maybe you can find it for me, Ron. I would appreciate. I haven't been able to. To be real fair, I haven't done a whole lot of research. To be completely fair, so you could be right. I just haven't found it yet.
Right at the roof, man. Got no.
Okay, good to see you, Vetscro. Enjoy the festival. Yeah, you can. You definitely can find all kind of stuff out on internet on a YouTube. That is a fact. That is a true statement. But I don't know, no matter what. Can you get me the Coca-Cola recipe, Ron? That's one I would like to make up.
That's awesome. Green bicycles.
Green bicycles. What's Brandon been up to? I missed you last week, Brandon. I'm glad you found the Saturday show. You're muted though. If you don't.
Oh, sorry about last week. I got busy.
That's okay. That's okay. We all do. Sorry,
But what? Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just rambling.
Oh, me too. What I was going to say is I just set up 2 new pots is what I was doing. So now I got the cover crop established. Yeah, well, almost. I'll show you. It's sprouting mycelium like crazy.
So what do you just get what do you use for your cover crop? Do you have a special blend that you use or just grab a generic cover crop?
I actually use builder soils because they got a good one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's what I use. It's not too expensive, and it sprouts really well.
Where do you get your builder soil stuff from?
I go to the local AHL because they're really awesome people. So I go over there. I've been trying to get them to carry your product as well. I got some clones going on. Some of my shows. But yeah, I'm gonna get these ready, and then I'm gonna plant a couple autoflowers. I'm gonna have 5 of them actually, because then in about 9 days, 10 days, these are gonna harvest. But supposedly, but I don't know about these ones, because looks like it's got a long way to go though. But
now, what one's that again?
These were supposed to harvest in about 10 days, but these are looking like they're going to take longer. This one, not as much, but.
That one has a big old head on that one, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, that's a monster. That's one of the biggest ones I've ever grown. In my big old tent. I'm only about a foot away from the roof. and it's 8-footer. Oh,
I don't know what Syngonics is, but Mr.
what is
Hungary.
that?
Synthetic
know.
organics,
Yeah.
like bottled organics.
Okay. Some more Syngonics in some of these gardens, bro. What do you explain yourself, sir?
We green bicycles in here, dry powdered nutrients, no bottled and organic bottled stuff.
I'm not sure. Actually, we've talked about this before. That word organic is an interesting word, and it's definitely been hijacked in different industries. But anyways,
I
okay,
believe
yeah,
the way we do it is more natural than most.
yes, I think so. Absolutely. Then getting bottled salt water nutrients. Yeah, ours are mostly, I would say, I should do the little math. It's probably 90% protein. There are some natural salts that come from mines, like Epsom salt and Langenbite is in there. A couple of just but used as a spice, not the main ingredient. But I'm a plants and animals eat plants and animals. That's what nature did. Yeah, the word organic it's not only overrated, it's it has a lot of different meanings. You could die from a lot of organic substances, as you know if you're in chemistry. But
Like arsenic.
like arsenic or those are all organic for sure. Yeah, we talk a little bit about KNF in here. We've actually had Chris Trump. My goodness, we had the man on their show. He graced us with an hour or so of his time. But yeah, we some of us experiment. I don't want to use us. Some of the people watching the show experiment with KNF stuff, and we're delving into it and talking about it. So love that. That's kind of what we like to talk about. And in fact, if you have some information for us about like IMOs or whatever, we'd love to hear any of your tips. Okay. Let's see. I'll get caught up in the chat. Thank you, Ron. Thank you. What else is going on?
I don't know. My buds take a long time to grow.
How you been, buds?
Hanging in there, doing good, feeling good.
Good.
Mom's
Good.
doing good. We're chill.
And I hear you got a little puppy.
No.
You didn't?
I keep trying to get these French bulldogs out of the pound, and I fill out the applications like you're trying to get a child or something. And of course I don't get approved, single guy, older. I guess they want them to go to families or something with kids. I don't know, but I don't get approved, so they never call me back.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, actually, another Wendy Kornberg is another disciple of his that and they're doing shows all over the United States now, I believe. No, yeah, Chris Trump is he's one of the gurus in our field for sure. There's a handful out there, but he's definitely one of them. A lot of
Yeah,
knowledge to share.
I like that Matt Powers, that soil guy.
I don't know.
Soil-
I don't know about him. Tell us a
Yeah,
little
he's
bit.
like a student of something. Yeah, he does all kinds of cool videos. He's a soil guy.
Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. That's what we do. We like also fruit and gas. We like to. Actually, we have a number of people who do come on kind of interesting experiments. One guy we have, Josh. I'm wondering where Josh has been from. Yet Yggdrasil's garden, but doing things like grafting different strains onto one mother plant, so you can have a mother plant with different strains on it. Kind of cool stuff that we do. Positive pressure, soils. We do. I don't know. We did. There's some interesting things. We did a trial on tissue culture but all stages were successful except the rooting stage, which might be the most important. What I'm going to try next time, actually, if I do it during the rooting stage, I'm just going to forego the tissue culture, and I'm going to just use Clonex and just put it in a root cube and just do it how I normally do clones. It can't turn out any worse, and it's
Yeah,
easier.
that's true.
So I think that's what I'm going to do next time when I try to root one of those little tissue culture plants. Hey, Sungrown, good to see you.
Yeah, Josh, he's down in Florida where all them hurricanes and shit are happening. So I hope he's okay.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe he's been prepping for those while I'm selfishly saying, why isn't he coming on my show?
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
there's more important things going on with Josh in Florida. Just
yeah.
maybe.
I know. Well, he did move down there, so I don't know how close he is to the coast and stuff. But yeah, they've hit pretty hard.
Yeah, no, you can clone budded stuff, but and actually that's something I don't really want to talk about tonight, but I will because it's somewhat bad news or good news. Is those clones I took off the Blue Dream didn't take
I was
well.
wondering why they didn't come in the mail.
They didn't come in the mail there. And what I'm doing is I'm doing I got a hold of Run Boy, who comes on the show once in a while. I hope he's listening. What happened was my mom plant started to go flower.
Oh,
So it's being really slow to clone, which is typically the case. But Run Boy is going to make us some clones up, so it might just be a week or so. Sorry to
that's fine.
disappoint you, but I haven't forgot about you. I think about it every day. I check them. I could probably send them, but they're not optimal. I want to send things that are optimized.
Yeah,
for you.
they're basically dropping into re-veg. You'd have, that takes a couple weeks and 3 weeks, and yeah.
You would have cropped them.
What's that?
You would have monster cropped those clones.
What does that mean?
If you put them into flower first, all the
Yeah.
bud sites then sprout, and it just sprouts all crazy once you get it back to re-vegging. That's what I do with a lot of my plants.
Yeah, I could do that.
Takes too much time.
It takes a minute, but there's no reason why I couldn't do that. But okay, let's see what we got here. Okay. Pepper. You were talking about peppermint extract. What do you think is good about? I'm kind of curious. What is the molecules in there that are interesting to you, Mr. Hungry? And I'm saying this respect for your knowledge.
I'm saying for nitrogen and veg.
Yeah, I'm wondering where I'm going to feel stupid, but the saponins what is that? I know I've heard that word before, but I don't. Is it like a fatty acid or something? I don't know what that. I can't tell you what that means right now. Saponins. I know I've heard it many times. I'm thinking. I don't know. I'm thinking soap. I'm thinking fat, but I don't know.
I've heard of saponura. Like they use it for builder soil as a wetting agent.
What is that?
I've heard of saponura. They use it as like a wetting agent.
Yeah, that's what it would be is a wetting agent. Interesting. I wonder where you get those from.
Builder soil has it.
Or plant soaps. I thought it was a soap. Okay, so soaps, don't they have a hydrophilic side and a hydrophobic side? Am I correct about soaps? Well, we got some. Oh, will they actually distill nitrogen or will they steal it, Mr. Fruit and Gas? Or Fruit and Gas? I didn't mean to make it a. Okay. There we go. We got some knowledge to bail me out here.
It just makes it flow better through the soil, from my understanding.
Okay.
To where it don't just drain out the sides.
Quahilla. Seems like Build a Soil, they're doing something right because I hear about them a lot. I wonder if I should partner up with them somehow.
I use their base soil.
Where are they located? Don't tell me in Humboldt County. I'll feel
Colorado.
Stupid. Okay, good. Does Clackamas Scoot have something to do with them?
Yep. He's in partnership with them.
He does their worm casting.
Okay.
And their gnarly barley.
Yeah, okay. That's it. gnarly barley.
I'll have to look into them.
The product I use as well. I
These
throw it
guys
in the grinder, and it supports all the microbial life.
I don't do nothing. I just use green bicycles.
Well, Buds, we might need. You're doing great, but maybe we can up our game a little bit. I need to actually
Damn it.
look and see
I'm
what
gonna have
build
to
of soil.
get bigger tents.
Clackamas Coot has also been on my show, Fruit and Gas. So yeah, he is a legend. We love.
Yep.
Yeah,
I would love to talk to that guy.
no, maybe I ought to. He's very. You know what? He's very cool with his time. I think he had a good time on my show. After he left, he sent me just tons of information. He might, you know what? He might come back on. Maybe I ought to reach out to him again. He's actually a great guest to have. It's very knowledgeable. Another guy, very knowledgeable and loves to share his knowledge. That's what we do, man.
I see him all the time on other people's panels.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So he likes to get out there and talk. So maybe I will reach out to the old coot.
I love the size of this bud here, though.
I can tell. It looks like a gear shift knob.
Right.
There you go.
Put that in resin, turn it on, oh, wouldn't that be kind of a cool gear shift knob? Oh, yes. Yeah, yucca, I think I've heard that before. Aloe, is that another
aloe?
One? Aloe?
Yeah,
I use aloe. I'll grind up aloe and throw it into my bucket sometimes.
No, I think aloe has some interesting properties to it.
Yeah, I used to do weird shit. Spinach teas and veg, and the plant, be praying all green the next day. I mean, there's so many different options out there for organic or KNF, whatever. It's just endless.
It is. And trying to pin down the very best thing would be it would take it would be a lot of work because especially growing organically, there are so many things that work fine, that work great. And even like the people who come on my show, they have enough subtle differences that you would think would be important, but you get great results. All of it.
Yeah. Well, it's a huge wormhole in my eyes. It's like once you get into it and start going down there, it seems to just complicate the shit out of it to me. I don't know. I'm old.
That's the direction I went. Is that's actually why I made my two products there.
Yeah, because I finally
Ocean
realized
Down?
I was doing all this crap and I
Happy
just
Ending
didn't need to do it. When I got green bicycles, it's just 2-part and boom.
No, it's simple.
It takes a little time to figure out how exactly it works. Like, I figured doing the Ocean Bounty with the Happy Endings tea when I'm in flower, bubble it for 48 to get more, stiff that it needs for flower. You just work with it. You figure it out that, I remember
figure out what you like to do.
You still got to build in biologics, though.
When I first started using green bicycles, I gave them Happy Ending tea every day. It did not kill my plant. It turned it a beautiful orange and yellow and dark reds. It was just gorgeous looking, but it was just over fertilized, but never killed it. I harvested. It was decent smoke. So even if you don't know what you're doing, it still works. You know what I mean?
No.
I would agree with you, Pat.
What did I say? I'm actually.
You disagreed with me. I said your stuff even works when you don't know how to use it properly.
Well,
I still didn't kill my grow. It still works.
No, mine is easy. It's very forgiving. It's very forgiving.
And when you're in soil, it's a lot more forgiving. If you're in hydro and you make a mistake, your whole garden's shot. It's like that's crazy.
And Brandon, actually, there's generic mycorrhizae in my tea mix and and Ocean Bounty both. So, but I just can't put it on the label.
Yep.
For reasons, but every time you water with the tea, you're adding, the diversities, like what you're doing with the cover crops. That's excellent, great stuff there. You're going to introduce a lot more. Yeah, there we go.
I run worms instead of worm castings.
Yeah, I think that's That's amazing. Whatever you're doing something right. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
I tried that cover crop, and the cover crop grew bigger than my weed plants. It killed everything. So I just stay with what I'm doing because that's what works.
Trim it like
Yeah.
the yard, and then use it as like just cover up your cover crop with the clippings. That's what the key to it is. You want all that to establish, and then keep it there because you want all that right on the top, right where all them right in flower where all them feeder roots come from. That they're all gonna
So
come up and eat all that food. You'll have some
so
awesome
Brandon,
buds.
after you're done with a grow, Brandon, you just make a little hole and put a new seed back in there. You don't empty your pots and
Nope,
reconstitute it. None of that.
no till exactly. I just pull out
Nice.
the just the main little tap root, leave all the rest of the roots for my worms, and I could plant the same day.
Yeah, see, I guess I'm just different with my soil that way. I mean, I reuse my soil, but I have to, empty out the roots and then put them in my bin. I reconstitute it with the Ocean Bounty, let it cook for like a month before I use it again, and it's all good. It's a little hot in the beginning, but because it had all of the high for flowers, in there, and that stuff lasts a long time, but it works.
I feel it's kind of better because you burnt out all the nutrient. Once you plant a seed in there, it grows like crazy. You top amend, you get them biologics cooking. By the time that plant's able to uptake them nutrients, it's like rocket fuel.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't believe there's no way that plant is taking up all of the ocean bounty that I dump into it during flower. That soil probably good for 3 years. Just give it the tea. I don't know. I just,
Different thing. They're different things work different for sure.
exactly. I tried, I went off and did other things, and I found myself back just using the green bicycles.
Yes. And Ron has some good things to say about Greenbot. Thank you. How'd you transition from salts to organics, Mr. Hazards?
Oh, I started out, yeah. When I first started, I was using that Fox Farm, the 3 bottle bullshit, and I burned the hell out of the plant. And I only did one grow with that. It was a sour lemon diesel, and then Green Bicycles found me, and I've been it's been what, over 2 years now on Green Bicycles. So yeah,
Good. I started
yeah,
with it. This is what I started with because
earth juice.
my cousin who taught me to grow, that's what he grew with, and he got great stuff. And I started with earth juice, and then I switched to the salts. I think every brand of salt I've tried. And then I started watching stuff about subcool. I learned to build a super soil, and someone else mentioned it too. I think right here is that's how I did very well in the competition was using super soil, and then I used worm tea, which subcool wasn't quite using when I was. And he definitely switched over to teas later, but that's how super soil, and I just use a worm tea to
Yeah, I used to do the molasses, but then it's already in there, so I stopped doing that too. I found when I cured, had my jars stored, weed stored for a long time, I'd crack them open and it would almost smell like it was fermenting, like you get like an alcohol, like a wine smell from it. And I figured it was because there was too much sugars in the plant when I cured it, and that was because I was giving it molasses, and it's already the plant makes sugars and spits it out and absorbs them back. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not doing
Molasses
that
in the
twice,
tea though.
huh?
Molasses is in the tea.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's why I stopped adding molasses to my teas because it's already in there.
yeah,
Oh,
it's for actually molasses is to feed the biology.
and it's
But
broken down.
there he is. There he is, ladies and gentlemen.
There he is. I hope. How you doing? Okay,
Yeah,
Josh. I know
how
you
you
got
doing,
the
Josh?
tornadoes. Good to see you.
We miss your wisdom. Yeah, good to see you, Josh. Oh, that means at least you're okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Brandon, are you eating?
Sounded like a bag of chips.
Oh, we maybe we have a little controversial. So it might kill some. It might kill some microbes, but I don't know. I use. I'm not a big heavy molasses user, and I definitely think it feeds the biology. Maybe we'll get some fruit and gas. I would love to hear your opinion. Come up on the panel if you'd like, and yeah, we could discuss this because actually there is. I know there is. Okay, I will. There is a branch. Yes, I will. I'll say this. There's a branch of cannabis community. I think it comes from Elaine Ingram, especially, and her followers. But I think she's another one that can contribute. So I'm not saying anything against this, other than there's this very anti like molasses element out there. But all I can say is it works. Maybe not, but it works. This guy,
Well, I think
Aussie.
anything that they overdo it, I think, yeah, would have a negative effect.
I got a guy down here, and I'm a little nervous.
Brandon. Oh, backstage?
There's someone backstage.
No, unless they show you, tell them to put their finger to their nose, rub their head.
Will you touch your nose with your finger?
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just a picture of somebody.
Well, they're moving around, but that last time they're moving around too.
Yeah, no, tell them to touch their nose. That way you know it's a live person. If they don't touch their nose, it's a video.
Hey, Aussie CC, are you out there? Touch your nose with your finger, and I'll let you up.
And then when
there we go. There he goes. Okay. Sorry about that. We got porn bomb last week. That's all. Good to see you. How you been?
Fair enough. G'day.
Good day.
Bit odd, but
good.
Yeah, I was just about to leave. I thought, I'm not here to cause problems. I'm just going to go. I just want to have a smoke with someone and have a bit of a chat about cannabis. But I've never had that type of anyway. G'day. Good to see everybody.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
The sulfur thing, with your molasses, you have to have unsulfured molasses. If you've got with sulfur in it, that's what's going to really harm the microbes. I use the unsulfured.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't
unsulfured.
Yes, I agree.
So molasses,
I think molasses in any form should be used lightly. I wouldn't say giving it molasses every time you water your plants. You know what I mean?
No, you only want to do your molasses is for feeding the microbes only, not for feeding the plants.
Yes, that's yes. I agree. I agree. I agree with that. In fact, that's how I designed my tea. Is I went down the rabbit hole of because so many people back in the day they swore by they used to sell 5-gallon buckets of molasses at the grocery stores, and it's like what are they doing that for? And there was a lot of people who threw it in their soil and they swore it made their plants, And then I started looking into it. What do roots actually take up? And it's actually a very fascinating topic. What molecules can a root absorb, and what's the process? Not a whole lot's known about it, but yeah, the molasses I don't think goes in the roots. It just feeds the biology in the soil. But there is a school of thought where the molasses is detrimental to the plant growth. I think one of the reasons is the plants exude sugar on their own to attract the microbes. I think it's one theory, and I think maybe the sulfur killing some of the others might be the other, but it does work. It does work.
The plant needs 19 essential elements that it needs to produce its tissues. I could name them all for you, but 96% come from 3 elements out of the air: carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. 45% of each, and then hydrogen 6%. And then you go into your macros, which is your NPK, sulfur, CalMag. Then the silicon, which used to be in there, is now into the it's to a variable mobile. It's changed because this course that I did this year, was written this year. It's in soil fertility at the university. And then you go into your micros, and even that's changed a smidgen. They've taken out silicon and they put it into the separate. And actually, I should just bring up charts for you. And another one that you were saying before to add to that is the XU dates that the roots put out. They break down actually, I'm going too far into it. I'll just stop talking. Sorry. I don't want
No. Actually, I love this. Keep going, sir. Go.
I'm listening.
I'm listening.
Well, I'll pull up what the plant needs, the essential nutrients for the plant. Like, for instance, nitrogen is 2 forms only. You've got many forms of nitrogen, but it's only 2, which is NO3, which is your nitrate, and then it's your ammonium, which is your NH4. If it comes in any other forms, it's not going to be readily available to the plant. It's got to be exchanged through through microbes, and they've got to immobilize it. So it'll be and changed into the form that the plant wants. Like, for instance, in what's another one that goes down? Well, potassium is just your K+. But yeah, I'll bring up the chart for you. Do you want me to show you the chart on the essential elements the plant can only uptake? It's very essential for precision and for foliar sprays. So that's something that you have to do. If you don't have them mixes in your foliar sprays, it's just going to lay on top, and you're just going to cause salt issues. It's just going to get white, and you're going to break down your photosynthesis. Won't be able to go because you've got clogging up your chlorophyll on top. Anyway, I'll pull up this chart for you of the essential.
Would it be a correct statement to say that the plants only uptake charged particles? They have to be charged?
No, there's cations and anions. So, and that's where it comes into the cation exchange capacity and your redox. You've got to have to know what charge, and this will show you like your negative. I'll just bring this up here because it's got it on it. It'll help me explain it. Here's the page I'm looking for. Now I'll just get back to you and press the share button. And share.
No, and I think without those 19 elements, a plant won't live even.
So this is the forms that it needs. So there's your nitrate, your NO3 negative, which is your anion, and your cation is the positive. So if you haven't, they can be floating around like your soil particles are naturally slightly negatively charged. So if you put nitrate in it, it leaches out very fast. But if you put ammonium in there, it'll bond onto it if there's an available position for it to bond onto. And like down with sulfur, if you put in sulfide, it's not going to be ready for the plant. It's sulfate that it wants to uptake. These are the proper elements over here. Cuprous is for copper. Chloride with a D is for chlorine, the chlorine bit. So this is the only parts that it can uptake for the plant. Everything will have to be broken down and exchanged and put into this ionic form for it to be accepted. I'll show you.
So they do have to be charged in order to be uptake. At some they have neutral elements can't. Isn't that what actually is draw them to the plant is the charge? Whether it's positive or negative, they have to be charged. They can't be neutral. Is that correct?
Yes, because there's positions like the cation, like in a chlorophyll, there's a magnesium in the center, and then it's got with the negatives, and then it's got the nitrate around the outside of it to hold on to. That's the molecule atom, the breakdown of a chlorophyll molecule, and that's an example that if those positions aren't there, something can knock it off. And then you come in with your the strength of your bond for your cation. So there's a strength. So if there's it goes, the bottom is sodium, and then it goes up to ammonium, magnesium, calcium, aluminium, and hydrogen. That's the bonding strength ratio. So if there's a chemical comes in which calcium is already just floating around, and then you've got your particles down here, and then there's magnesium or nitrogen on the particles, it can easily bump it off because it's got a higher bonding strength in the cations. I'll show you that chart if you want to.
But does this apply to like living soil, or is this more of like a synthetic, like the instant available?
No, this is what. Yeah, this doesn't matter in this sense. That's what plants take. That's what they absorb. Those forms, those chemicals. Now, whether it's done from a salt or organic, I think that's the discussion. But
yes, that's right. Green bicycle is correct. We're talking about any form. This is chemistry.
Yes.
It can be in your substrate, it can be in your hydroponic solution, it can be in your soil, anything like that. And this is the bonding strength I was just talking about. Sodium, ammonium, potassium, that's the strength as it goes up. So if you've got a calcium ion floating around and there's anything below it, calcium will just bump it off and take its position. So if you're trying to get a lot of ammonium into your plant, you don't want to put calcium in there too, because it'll take its position and could just bump this off, and it could be leached out through it. It chelates with other things. Chela is in Latin means chlor. Actually, here you go. Chela in Latin means chlor, which chelates onto things. So with your negative charged soil colloids, it can grab onto these positive cations. Therefore, it's chelated, locked on, and then it can be transported around. That's how it works with a cation exchange. This allows that to happen. So it can do an exchange, and then the roots can ask for what it wants. It can break down with its organic root exudates and its acids that are in there, and it gets what it wants.
I got a question for you. When I started, like I said, I started looking into, I started going down this rabbit hole just like, because my mind was, how do roots uptake things at the molecular level? That's what fascinated me. And and one of the things I love this information. I mean, I love it. One of the things I came across was that there are proteins in the root hairs that like will rotate, and my impression was they're specific for like ammonium or calcium. Maybe I'm wrong. So they're looking for that lock and key that matches just calcium, or so they know what they need and they take what they need if it's there. Maybe this placement, I can see how that happens, but maybe if it's more, I know a lot of chemistry is geometry. There's a charge to it, but geometry is absolutely at the next level key, right?
The root puts out in its exudates, there's organic acids in there, and it asks for what it wants. Like I did a talk yesterday on bio smart fertilizers that only gets broken down from the roots exudates. So it puts out different chemicals and stuff because it's got quorum sensing in there, which is what microbes use, and they talk to each other. So that's when the roots are right in the rhizosphere there, and they got the microbes. They're working with the microbes to ask for what they want through the different chemical signals that they put out. Hope that helps.
Do you want to be a partner in a fertilizer company, sir?
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas? I have the connections. I can make it happen. I would love to work with you because I like what you're saying. And
well, did you know? He'll tell you something cool about fertilizers. Well, I don't know if I should be sharing this because I sort of wanted to do the same thing because there's not much like nanoparticles. I'm getting into that nanotechnology, and that was one of my courses that I'm completing, and it's fascinating. That's the future, and the way that the NPK is sort of old school uptake, and nanoparticles is the future. And like for instance, urea. They've gone and made a fertilizer now where urea particles are between 20 and 50 microns in size, and the normal urea particles are about 1 to 3 millimeters. So if you put in the nanoparticles, it spreads it out and it's got a huge surface area compared to one little grain. And that's just how it can uptake into the form of the plant. And the urea has NH4 in it, so it's got your ammonium. So it just directly goes straight in. And it's so small that it can get access through the stomata to go right in through the phloem, and its uptake so fast and beautifully. It's really good. That's just one example of the future and where us cannabis people are heading. It's rad. But yeah, mate, I'd like to do something.
But I figure that if you could uptake it right away, that's affecting the living soil part of it.
Well,
that's an
there's chemical reactions that happen in the soil instantly, yeah.
Because then you could burn your plants. Like if it uptakes it right away, you know what I mean?
Well, that's called salinity. That's when the saline level's too high, and that's up about the 2000 ppm level. And if you're putting anything up about that high, you're asking for trouble. And that's the reason why people aren't doing foliar sprays, and they've had no luck in the past because they've put the dilution rates that are too high, and they burn the friggin' leaves. So you want to use about a 50 to 80 ppm dilution rate of a mineral that you like at the time, and then you'll get good access. I'll do it, no worries, 2 times a day. Nanoparticles, more contact with atmospheric gases. Yeah, just beg your pardon?
Go ahead, finish your thought.
Oh, just the size of the nanoparticles can get in everywhere. They can get in through the stomata. There's hydrothodes that's also on the cannabis leaf. There's dermal tissue that can get access through. I've got all this stuff that I'm talking about is through what I've learnt through my university, and I've got all the slides to prove it. So I can pull all this stuff up and just show you, and it's a lot easier to visualize things too.
Hey, would you be willing to come on maybe planned and do it and go through your talk or your videos? Or I would love to have you as a guest on my show where we can highlight what you're doing. I would love to arrange that with you, Aussie.
Yeah,
I love I love what university is it, by the way?
that's the nanoparticle size. So see how 1 micron, that's usually it's urea, is 1 to 3 millimeters. But over here, look at it spread out so fast. So look at the surface area it's covering. So it's just so much better. See?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to bring someone else's down in the green room. Florinugs, who's actually someone else. Florinugs, since I was pouring bomb last week, if you got to touch your nose for me. Pretty simple ask. There you go. Welcome, Florina. Go pick your.
Yeah, I missed the last I guess the last 2 weeks because the last time I was on, you were talking about going back to the profession.
Yes.
And then the show changed days, and I just noticed it today.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Life is catching up with me. My life has got from pretty easy to pretty rough. Pretty busy.
Pretty easy to pretty rough, as in
Pretty
like
busy,
busy. Pretty busy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, by the way, hey, Aussie.
You know, mate.
I know Aussie. He's a good guy.
No, he's a great guy. I love what you have. I love your angle at the chemistry level. In fact, the reason I was talking about charged particles is that would be almost because nothing moves unless it's pushed or pulled in nature. It has to be pushed or pulled, and you need that charge. Otherwise, everything's going to the plants beholden to gravity, which wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. So
I'll tell you something about the push and pull theory. Oh, sorry, you go.
The other guy, Aussie, Brandon. Maybe what he was talking about a couple of moments before I came on is osmotic pressure, because through osmotic pressure, it's pretty much it's forced into the cell walls, right? So.
Yep, water potential on osmotic pressure it's the way that the fluid gets through the plant. It can be polar through the xylem or through the phloem. It goes both ways. And there's an interesting thing I just did a few days ago. I suppose I could share with you. This is my research experiments, but it'll help you guys with overcoming problems. I've been fighting Pseudomonas syringae, which is a pain in the ass, which causes chlorosis virus. And what I did was it creates, if you culture it, it'll create a gumming effect. The bioslime's like a brown gummosis sort of effect that you get from it. So you can recognize it. And if you put that under your microscope, you can see what it looks like, so you can identify the Pseudomonas. And to get rid of it, I thought, here's an experiment. Why don't I try and backflush it using osmotic pressure and water potential to see if I can get better endophytes inside of the tissues and get rid of the Pseudomonas that's in there causing the chlorosis. So if you soak a cutting in humic solution for 2 or 3 hours, put it in sunlight, and it'll transpire, because through the cohesion tension theory is if the pressure outside is lower than the root pressure, that's when you get the transformation of the transpiration happening through the stomata. So you can see that humic acid go up, and it travels about half an inch every hour. So that's under good sunlight. So after I did that, I've done that a couple of years ago, just to know how it travels fast through the tissue. I did a very heavy solution of some really good endophytes, and I sucked that up into the tissue for a few hours, and then cloned it. And then
were you able to capture that? Were you able to capture that process?
This is I didn't document this experiment.
I didn't document it.
But it should work. But that's what I'm trying to do, is flush them out through the water potential, what you're talking, the osmotic pressure.
No, it sounds really interesting. It would be really cool. It's really cool to see that that whole process.
No, Aussie, whenever it's convenient for you, sir, I'd love to do an interview with you. And actually, I'm serious we need to talk about business over in the United States. We might be able to say, yep, we need to talk. Look at you go.
I don't want to tell you my sort of key things to the fertilizers, but there's some cool things that hasn't been done in fertilizers yet that I could show you some really good charts. People haven't, should I go into it? People haven't designed a fertilizer. It's called smart fertilizers. They haven't designed fertilizers to be available when the bloody plant wants. And it's easy. Oh, it's not easy, but it's just a process of putting trial and error out. And with different varieties, you're going to know which is calcium pig, which is blah, blah pig. But in general, the breakdown of the size of the particles is the slow release form. So if you've got something that's pretty big, it might take a few months to release. If you've got something smaller, it might take less and less time. And it's just like the nanoparticles, it can be uptake super fast. So that's sort of the key without going into it.
So what's the is the technology expensive to make nanoparticles, or is it real mechanical?
Yes. Yeah, I did it.
Okay.
About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had one of my talks was on nanotechnology in agriculture, and I went into it pretty heavily on how to synthesize and how to do it. You need to synthesize it, and that's the bit where you want to attract the two things. So you'll have the nanoparticles, and you've got to put it onto something to make the carrier, and that's where a lot of people stuff up, where their synthesizing techniques aren't good enough to be effective enough to get a good end result, and they can rehash that and find that things will work a lot better. Yeah, I don't want to go into it too much. I'll hoggle your airtime, but it was really cool, and that's the future. It's really good.
No,
I got another. I got an off-topic question. On-topic, off-topic. Aussie, as far as you're concerned, is botrytis systemic? And is there a way to eradicate it?
Yeah, it's definitely throws in the stem. Once you've got it in there, it'll go to different parts of the plants. It's unlocked through the water activity level. So if you get the water activity level above sort of 65%, that's when it's going to be unlocked, and you're going to be favourable in the conditions for that to germinate, and then it'll reproduce itself, and you'll get all your hyphae.
Is there a way to eradicate it?
They reckon Bacillus subtilis.
I mean, there's like Thiomyces, I think, is one of the things that they use, and it's like
Trichoderma.
a product called Actinovate. It's in there, and if you feed it to the mother plant, you can kind of prevent botrytis for the most part. But there's a lot of people that kind of don't like that product because they say it was GE engineered.
Well, spraying anything, you're asking for troubles. So I agree with them. Good on. And what I found the best way to do it is to put fungal resistant genetics into your line, and it's pretty easy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But
that's how I combat
we're going to come in. Well, that would be the obviously key, right? So to breed with fungal, dominant fungal genetics that are resistant to those fungals. But we live in a world where there's a lot of commercial weed that is we don't get to make those choices for everybody, right? We only get to make those choices for ourselves. And so the fact is, botrytis powdered mildew is a plague in the industry, and there should be a way to fight it. Yeah, there's a whole debate on whether or not it's systemic or not, and I believe it to be systemic.
Yeah, it travels through it's definitely in the vascular system.
Yeah. You got any thoughts on this, Pat?
For outdoor growers, it's pretty hard. Outdoor growers, you're going to struggle because the humidity is going to get above 65% when it's in the early morning, and then it's going to be in the perfect spots. The best thing that I used to do with my outdoors when I was growing in when I was growing in BC, the best thing I did was I just defoliated the fucking hell out of it. So I just got in and I could see through either side, no worries of the big massive things, and then I knew that the chances were lower. Yeah, that's the best that I could do, really.
And someone mentioned in chat like labs work as well. I've done that too, sprayed with labs, and
spray your flowers.
Well, before you flower, yeah. No, not after week two. Not after week 2. There are stuff that you can spray. There's a company called Lost Coast. They make a plant product called Plant Therapy, and you can spray that all the way up to the day of harvest. Obviously, I don't recommend it, but there's commercial situations where there are facilities that do that, and I don't recommend it. But it happens?
When I do a flip, I'll do an IPM, and I'll always put compost tea and some beneficial bug trichoderma. I use
Trichoderma, yeah.
Bacillus thuringiensis. I put them in the beneficials in my mix. So for the first, I'll do 2 sprays within the first 2 weeks of when I flip, and that'll give me usually a good sign. And then I'll stress if the humidity goes above 65%, because that's unlocking
But you're using genetics that you either started from seed or were not infected, right?
I've got both. I've got stuff which I've installed the good genetics, and I use, like last time when some didn't have it installed in it, and I got Pythium, and nothing else got Pythium, but just this one variety did, because it didn't have any didn't have any prime genes. It's called having a PR genes installed, pathogenic resistant genes.
So the usually the stuff that's infected, I see between 6 and 8 weeks before it'll show up. So if it's sprayed throughout veg, and then they go to bloom within a week or 2 of spraying, and it's 8-week variety, they'll be fine. But a lot of varieties are 10-week varieties, and so a lot of times you'll see the PM right at the tail end, and you'll see these commercial facilities cutting right just a little bit early. But that's kind of the dirty secret of the industry.
People too, they've got the humidity gauges in the air in the rooms. They don't remember that actually inside of a dense bud, the humidity is 20% higher.
Absolutely. There's all kinds of micro pockets of humidity pockets all over the plant and all throughout the room. So you definitely, absolutely.
Air movement's critical indoors. That's why. Low air movement.
I've never had water mildew issues ever, and I don't ever try to do any preventative.
Brandon, your signal's not working.
You sound like you're speaking Wookiee or Chewbacca. Possibly turn your mic off and back on. I'm not sure. It's coming across like you're underwater.
This is a great show, by the way. I'm so glad Aussie decided to come up here. We definitely want to talk, and I hope you're open to an interview, because I would love just for you to present what you do, because I need to learn a few things.
Well, I like to share what I know so others can share their stuff and try the same experiments, and that we can all collate and we can get a better outcome, so we can save the planet in the long run, because this has got to be a sustainable thing. And the way that fertilizers are just gone and killed and fucked everything, with the eutrophication, blah, blah, pesticides, everything. And it's caused
gold bars, guys. Gold bars.
We've all got to go the other route, which is to save everything. And that's the way that I portray.
I don't delete them. I just put them, I put them in a private, so I can send you an email to see the shows, but this show is not going to get deleted. There's no way. Or put in private. This is a great.
Hey, Aussie, if you get a moment, stop by this Sunday. I didn't even get a moment to say hi to you last time. You bounced out so quick.
Yeah, once my session's done, I got to get back to it. I'm feeling all good now. Woo, back to study.
Well, yeah, I would love to hear more about what you're doing, where you go to school. I would love anything you want to talk about. We'll talk. Right?
Well, I don't know how your plans are. Maybe in a few days' time, because I've got a few lectures, I've got assignments I've got to catch up on, and then I'm pretty good. I'm nearing the end of the semester, so it's I'm starting to get a bit more time again. So yeah, it's good.
Well, I'll make it easy for you. We could pre-record it or anything, but I'm on a topic that you're what. Anyways, yes, thank you for coming on tonight.
Well, you used to teach biology, didn't you?
I teach chemistry.
Chemistry, sorry, yeah. So yeah, you're up on the way. You know what's going on. That's good, and you'll understand all this lingo.
A little bit.
You can ask the right questions.
Yes. No, I
can share some of the nanotechnology stuff too, and the soil. My latest class is soil fertilizers and soil fertility, and that's telling you how to blend them, what happens when you blend them, how you should be doing organics, how to do organic blends, what happens and what's the repercussions and experiments on different types of blends, why you should and shouldn't use them. That's cool things, and I'm absolutely loving it. And I'm a bit upset that it's going to end in 2 weeks. But
it doesn't have to. We could take it to the next level. I have connections. My partner is a huge person in the fertilizer industry. I want you to seriously think about it, whether consult but we can make what your idea is. We can make them happen.
It's amazing how, like, Psycho, this brand that I don't support Psycho people. They bought out by Monsanto and Bayer. Their formulas are going to change. Yeah, for the worse soon. But if you look at their formulas, they're so straightforward and simple. Anyway, we can talk about it privately.
We will.
Potassium nitrate, citrus. Yeah, very, very simple. But they broke it down into like 13 bottles, 14 bottles.
Because some of them don't blend right.
I understand that when you're in water. Yeah, I understand that.
And some of them precipitate, like some of them don't. If you put, I'm trying to think of the picture of the chart. There's two they don't blend at all. Calcium doesn't really mix a lot with a lot of other things. And zinc and magnesium you can also use to be a carrier to chelate things. I don't want to go into it too technically, but it's amazing once you get into it. That's what you can do with the different elements.
Hopefully you come back and do go into it technically, because that's what everybody loves to hear. I mean, we are nerds to this stuff. We really love hearing about this stuff
in detail. And actually, what comes around, because that's what's fascinated me, is silica, because from CDFA, when you're making a label, they don't consider silica a plant food. It's a non-plant food. That's its category, which is really. But I think it's hypercritical for a healthy plant, especially to fight diseases.
As a carrier, yeah.
And it's what's really different about it is it's a polymer unless it's like pH 8 or above. So it has to be high pH to be liquid form. But I think on your chart you showed it as SiO3, maybe that was the uptake. But what I had always heard is that plants absorb something called salicylic acid, which is a silica acid that is formed. That's the form of silica. It's an acid that goes up there. Do you know anything about that?
Salicylic acid. That's spelled SALI. That's one of the.
This is salicylic. It's silica. SIL. It's like it's salicylic, but it's salicylic.
No, I've never heard that one.
Okay, it's interesting. It's out there. I think you can even buy it.
I'm gonna look that up. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And, I believe agitation with humic acid, and if you look at the molecule and SiO2, that's what I like in my tea. And the physical agitation where they actually collide with each other with kinetic energy, I think it forms that acid. I'm pretty sure.
When the humic acids break down, it forms excellent spots to bond to cations. It has the COO, the carboxylate is a negative charge. It's an anion, so it can form all these positive cations. It can have the calcium, potassium, magnesium, ammonium, all can just bond to it. The same with the other side of it, which is the OH, which is the hydroxide, OH negative, hydroxyl. That can bond and that forms, and that's a negative charge too. And that's why when the humic acids get in there, they break into those two forms, create heaps more, and improve the cation exchange.
No, and I've always been a firm believer of, I think it's fulvic acid is another interesting. I know it's a branch of it's. I think it's a more refined version of humic. I think it's a smaller molecule in general, and I've always used that as a transport molecule when I make I use humic. I use that for a foliar spray, and maybe I'll put in amino acid and mix dry amino acid, and then put a little bit of that in there. It makes amazing foliar. And I just did it because I kind of intuition, but I guess I was going down the right path then, right?
I do a good foliar spray for is a good blend with I do a 4 parts of kelp to 1 part humic, and that allows a lot of micronutrients to bond onto each other in the mix to get out and to break down on top of the leaves. That's
the acid there. Monosalicylic and orthosalicylic. And they actually sell that as a product now. I've seen it, but that's what I think nature does that with sand. That's what, I think the sand in their soils, where you get the silica from, I believe, most of it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's cool. I'll come on. I'll try and come on tomorrow, Flora, and see you there. Green Jeans, I've got to bail. I'll have to. When are you on? Like when?
9 p.m. Pacific Standard.
Actually,
I don't know if Pat wants me to advertise my show, but yeah, it's 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Oh well, I'll have to go check that out.
It's called Pardon the Dank. On the Floor Nugs channel. Pardon the Dank, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Floor Nugs channel.
Every night?
Sunday nights only.
Oh, Sunday. Okay.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah, good thing. Sunday nights, not every night. Every night would be too much.
Good info. Thank you.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I put my email in the private chat. So
every night.
Okay.
There are some shows that run every night, but I think a lot of those shows run out of content, and it winds up being a bunch of people just talking about random subjects, which is not always bad.
That's kind of what's happened here. So when someone like Aussie comes up with some serious knowledge, and I key on the chemistry stuff. I love that. Bring back a lot of memories. So yes.
Aussie's a really good. Aussie's good.
No,
I've seen Raptor Grows in chat. He's a real knowledgeable character.
He's been on the show.
A few of them.
No, we have a lot.
There's a few of them in the chat. Yeah, there's a few of them in the chat that are real knowledgeable people. Sun growing.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's got good experience.
It's a good channel you built here.
Yeah, well, thank you, Flora Nugs. I enjoy it. So I'm gonna reach out to you, Aussie, and we'll arrange a time and look forward to our interview. We've gone.
Yep.
More than and actually we've gone over an hour unless somebody has something real important to say.
I was going to ask you about your. It's not real important, but I was going to ask you if there's any progress on the flower specific mix.
I reached out to it's kind of stalled in the sense that I wanted to go with Nat with Humboldt Seeds, and I reached out to him, and I haven't heard back from him yet. Maybe I should do a follow up, but I would definitely like him on board. It would make.
Definitely, he's a big player for sure.
He's
a big player, and he does a lot of stuff, and he's close to you, so you could check it out. So
no, and not only that, we have a relationship. I've been to his farm. I've been to his. He's been to my house, so we have a relationship. So yeah, I think I'm kind of waiting for that, and it's going to go along the lines of basically something like we're basically protein based, but micronized, or maybe we should look at nano. But now that I'm
I just think you need to a way to expend all that nitrogen pretty fast, and then the PK to be there, right? As soon as flower production starts.
This is a discussion I would love to have with Aussie about because there is no. We were looking at auto flower.
Yeah, because Aussie has experience with autos, right? You've done autos, right, Aussie?
I haven't actually. No, I'd love to. I've got a gene from an auto. In my line, I've got an ELF gene that I've pulled out, and it's called an early finishing gene, and I've tried to install that into other under lines because it actually legitimately gets amber trikes on day 49, and it came from an autoflower, so it was pretty cool.
So what Pat was going to try to do is create a mix, like a fertilizer, just specifically for autoflowers.
I think there could be a market from Humboldt Seeds is really big in the autoflower business in the United States, and I'm close to the guy and I know him, and we're talking about it. So we just threw it out there. I would love to consult with you about it at some level. But yeah, that's what
work out the growth stages, and you've got to release them at those different stages. So there's about 4 stages. So if you can do it at different stages, at different forms and different sizes and shit like that, that's really about it. So that's the guts of it.
Do you think you could have stages of tea?
Hey?
Could you do something like 4 stages of tea, and each stage is...
Teas I've been playing around with for a few years now. That's a bit more harder because that's to do with microbes, and microbes colonize differently. So like labs, for instance, doesn't colonize, puts out very heavy bioslime and doesn't really invite friends in. So I'm trying to use a symbiotic culture to try and get everything to work, fossilizing, solubilizing bacteria, all the right ones that are working with each other to do the right things at the right stages too. Because everything's, you can't.
Bioavailability might not be fast enough either, right? It might not break down quite fast enough unless it's really, I guess, already ready to go. But you want to keep it organic, right?
Of course, definitely always organic. Yep. That's because you want to save the planet. This is the whole thing about doing this technical stuff, is to save the planet in the long run. You can easily go and do it right now and get rad yields. That's what everyone's doing. And look at, they're fucking up the planet. All this shit goes down the drain, etc., etc. All this wastage they've got, it's too high. So to eliminate that, you have to get fine-tuned and precision agriculture. And that's the sort of stuff that I like getting into, finding the numbers, doing the tests to try and work out what's going on at different stages and fine-tuning that. Can we make it better? How can we make it better? Let's tweak this 1%, see what happens. Weird shit.
Great stuff.
Well, I do it. I've been doing a show it's Saturday in Australia. For you, it's probably each Friday afternoon, maybe Friday nights it would be. Now we just had a change of daylight savings again too. So, but it's been each week at the moment. I've been doing a live, and I've just been saying the latest research and scientific experiments that have been found in cannabis. I'm hooked up with a few technical people with LinkedIn, and they share all their different things that they've done and their things that I've released. So I put all that stuff up, talk about legislation a bit, and then I get into, So that's what I've been doing each week for a couple of months now. But thought I'd give a plug. That's me on the exit. Nice chatting with you.
Nice chatting with you. Thank you for coming up.
Yeah, it's good to see a few faces in chat. I haven't seen in a while too. Cheers to everybody in chat. Good on your green bicycles.
Nice
Florida.
We'll be talking, sir.
Nice seeing you.
Well, that was a nice and good. Also, Florinugs, I'm glad you come up too. You know what's up. You know what's up. And we do have a pretty good show, don't we?
Yeah, it's good stuff. There's been, just got to ignore the troll stuff. There's no reason to even acknowledge it.
You're right.
Talk about the good stuff.
You're probably right about that.
There's a lot of good stuff, a lot of good information in all these groups, and it's a lot of good stuff. Yeah, but that's cool that you're teaching things going for you, and I was wondering how you were going to do that whole show on Friday, and then do that profession.
We're balanced. We're on a tightrope, but all parties know. So
yeah,
I think we're spreading good. I think we're doing like when Aussie come up here, he wants big ideas. We want to do good things. We want to do big things, and if we focus on that, we're good. I think, and I think we are right in the right direction. So no, anyways.
It'd be cool if you could try some of your Happy Indians or your other one.
I'm absolutely serious. I would love to work with him. I'm sure looking at the guy and I'm sure he'll be okay on his own. But I think there would be an opportunity for him as well as us to get someone who's doing this cutting edge research where maybe we could make something that's we have the facilities, we have the infrastructure.
Yeah, he does. Have you ever seen any of his slides? He does some really interesting stuff with the slides.
No, and I love I will, and I love he popped out carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. I talk about that all the time. That's what we love, is that, and that doesn't come from the soil. I love that he talked about that.
No, a lot of people don't realize that the plants with green leaves, they get it from the air.
Everything, almost
everything. Everything
like
almost.
I don't know what the percentage is, but I'm sure it's over 99% of the mass comes from the air. The weight of the plant comes from the air. It's those things. Would be my guess.
But yeah, I'll try to make it back next Saturday, and I got here late. So.
No, that's good. No, excellent. Great. I thought it was a great show. I love the direction it took, and I love the knowledge that gets shared on here. And anyways, thank you, Brandon, for coming up. I think you thought it was a good show, didn't you, Brandon?
Awesome show. Thank you.
I thought so too.
Great knowledge, Floral.
Yep. Yes, floral. Appreciate what you got to do up here. I'm gonna wrap
Flora
this
or
thing up.
Fanta? You can have Flora or you can have Fanta. You want plants or animals? All right. Well, you have a good night, Pat. Have a good
All right.
week, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right.